Good morning. It's another Tuesday. Day for a meeting. Hope you guys are doing good today. Thank you, Lily. Good morning, Stephen Oakey. Good morning, Van Girl Cheryl. Good morning, Lily. um, so please be kind in the comments. Don't go to other channels and harass them or other people's uh, names on their YouTube. Just because they're here doesn't make them the alcoholic. And being judging people in here is not tolerated for the meetings. So please don't do that. And if you want to chat, feel free. If you don't, I understand. Not everybody is ready for their family members or their loved ones to know that they are struggling with alcohol or addictions, as it is. So, I'm Sandra and I'm an alcoholic. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I always put in the description what we're reading, the book name, anyways, the step or tradition or chapter, story we're on. I read out of the book and then I go over with how I work that into my program and what I've done to make it easier for me to stay sober. I'm almost 11 years sober, so I'm pretty proud of that. And I also used AA for a quit smoking, even though, yes, I took meds for it, but I still use it daily to keep me from going and having that cigarette. So, anyways, one, we admitted we were powerless over alcohol, that our lives had become unmanageable. Hi, Ava. Two, came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity. Three, made a decision to turn our will and our life over to the care of God as we understood Him. Four, made a searching and fearless moral inventory of ourselves. Five, admitted to God, to ourselves, and to another human being the exact nature of our wrongs. Six, we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defective characters. Seven, humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. 8, made up lists of all persons we had harmed and become willing to make amends to them all. 9, made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when to do so would injure them or others. 10, continue to take personal inventory and when wrong, promptly admit it. 11, sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understand Him, praying only for knowledge of His will for us and the power to carry that out. 12, having had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, we try to carry this message to alcoholics and to practice these principles in all our affairs. Now we go into the traditions. Tradition 1, our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends on AA unity. 2, for our group purpose, there is but one ultimate authority, a loving God as He may express Himself in our group conscience. Our leaders are but trusted servants, they do not govern. 3, the only requirement for AA membership is a desire to stop drinking. 4, each group should be autonomous except in matters affecting other groups or AA as a whole. 5. Each group has but one primary purpose: to carry its message to alcoholics who still suffer. 6. An AA group ought never endorse, finance, or lend the AA name to any related facility or outside enterprises, lest problems of money, property, and prestige divert us from our primary purpose. 7. Every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. 8. Alcoholics Anonymous should remain forever non-professional, but our service centers may employ special workers. 9. AA as such ought never be organized, but we may create service boards or committees directly responsible to those they serve. 10. Alcoholics Anonymous has no opinion on outside issues, hence the AA name ought never be drawn into public controversy. 11. Our public relation policy is based on attraction rather than film or promotion. We need always maintain personal anonymity at the level of press, radio, and films. 12. Anonymity is the spiritual foundation of all our traditions, ever reminding us to place principles before personalities. We are on step 7, or tradition 7, page 160. Every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining outside contributions. Cute picture. Self-supporting alcoholics. Who ever heard of such a thing? Yet we find that's what we have to be. This principle is telling evidence of the profound change that AA has wrought in all of us. Everybody knows that active alcoholics scream that they have no troubles money can't cure. Always we've had our hands out. Time out of mind, we've been dependent upon somebody, usually money-wise. When a society composed entirely of alcoholics says it's going to pay its bills, that's really news. Probably no AA tradition had the labor pains this one did. And in early times, we were all broke. When we add to this the habitual supposition that people ought to give money to alcoholics trying to stay sober, it can be understood why we thought we deserve a pile of folding money. I lost my spot. Man, there it is. What great things AA would be able to do with it. But oddly enough, people who had money thought otherwise. They figured that it was high time we now sober paid our own way. So our fellowship stayed poor because it had to. There was another reason for our collective poverty. It was soon apparent that while alcoholics would spend lavishly on 12-step cases, they had a terrific aversion to dropping money into a meeting place hat for group purposes. We were astounded to find that we were as tight as the bark on a tree. So AA, the movement, started and stayed broke, while its individual members waxed prosperous. Alcoholics are currently all or nothing people, or certainly, sorry. Our reactions to money prove this. As AA emerged from its infancy into adolescence, we swung from the idea that we needed vast sums of money to the notion that AA shouldn't have any. On every lip were the words, "You can't mix AA and money." We shall have to separate the spiritual from the material. We took this violent new tack because here and there members had tried to make money out of their AA connections, and we feared we'd be exploited. Now and then, grateful benefactors have endowed clubhouses, and as a result, there was sometimes outside interference in our affairs. We had been presented with a hospital, and almost immediately the donor's son became its principal patient and would be manager. One AA group was given $5,000 to do what it would. The hassle over that hunk of money played havoc for years. Frightened by these complications, some groups refused to have a cent in their treasuries. Despite these misgivings, we had to organize the fact that AA had to function. Meeting places cost something. To save whole areas from turmoil, small offices had to be set up, telephones installed, and a few full-time secretaries hired. Over many protests, these things were accomplished. We saw that if they weren't, the man coming in the door couldn't get a break. These simple services would require small sums of money, which we could and would pay ourselves. At last, the pendulum stopped swinging and pointed straight at Tradition 7 as it reads today. In this connection, Bill likes to tell the following pointed story. He explains that when Jack Alexander's Saturday Evening Post piece broke in 1941, thousands of frantic letters from distraught alcoholics and their families hit the Foundation letterbox in New York. Our office staff, Bill says, consisted of two people, one devoted secretary and myself. How could this landslide of appeal be met? We'd have to have some more full-time help, that was sure. So we asked the AA group for voluntary contributions. Would they send us $1 a member a year? Otherwise, this heartbreaking mail would have to go unanswered. To my surprise, the response of the group was slow. I got mighty sore about it. Looking at this avalanche of mail one morning at the office, I paced up and down, ranting how irresponsible and tightwad my fellow members were. Just then, an old acquaintance stuck a tousled and aching head in the door. He was our prize Slippy, sorry. I could see he had an awful hangover, remembering some of my own. My heart filled with pity. I motioned him to my side cubicle and produced a $5 bill, and as my total income was $30 a week at the time. This was a fairly large donation. Lois really needed the money for groceries, but that didn't stop me. The intense relief of on my friend's face warmed my heart. I felt especially victorious as I thought of all the ex-drunks who wouldn't even send the foundation a dollar apiece. And here I was gladly making a $5 investment to fix a hangover. The meeting that night was at New York Old 24th Street Clubhouse. During the intermission, the treasurer gave a timid talk on how broke the club was. That was in the period when you couldn't mix money and AA. But finally he said it. The landlord would put us out if we didn't pay up. He concluded his remarks by saying, "Now, boys, please go heavier on the hat tonight, will you?" I heard all this plainly, and I was piously trying to convert a newcomer who sat next to me. The hat came in my direction, and I reached in my pocket, still working on my prospect. I fumbled and came up with a 50-cent piece. Somehow it looked like a very big coin. Hastily I dropped it back and or fished out a dime, which clinked thinly as I dropped it in the hat. Hats never got folding money in those days. Then I woke up. I who had boasted my generosity that morning was treating my own club worse than the distant alcoholics who have forgotten to send the foundation their dollars. I realized that my $5 gift to the Slippy was an ego-feeding proposition. Bad for him and bad for me. There was a place in AA where spirituality and money would mix, and that was in the hat. There is another story about money. One night in 1948, the trustee of the foundation were having their quarterly meeting. The agenda discussion included a very important question. A certain lady had passed. When her will was read, it was discovered she had left Alcoholics Anonymous in trust with the Alcoholic Foundation of a sum of $10,000. The question was, should AA take the gift? What a debate we had on that one. The foundation was really hard up just then. The groups weren't sending in enough for the support of the office. We had been tossing in all the book money, and even that hadn't been enough. The reserve was melting like snow in springtime. We needed that $10,000. Maybe some said. The group will never fully support the office. We can't let it shut down. is far too vital. Yes, let's take the money. Let's take all such donations in the future. We're going to need them. Then came the opposition. They pointed out that the foundation board already knew of a total of $500,000 set aside for AA in the wills of people still alive. Heaven only knew how much there was we hadn't heard about. If outside donations weren't declined, absolutely cut off, then the foundation would one day become rich, much over all the slightest intimation to the general public from the trustee that we needed money. We could become immensely rich. Compared to this prospect, the $10,000 under consideration wasn't much, but like the alcoholic's first drink, it would, if taken investably, set up a disastrous chain reaction. Where would that land us? Whoever pays the piper is apt to call the tune, and if the AA Foundation obtained money from outside sources, its trustees might be tempted to run things without reference to the wishes of AA as a whole. Relieved as responsibility, every alcoholic would shrug and say, "Oh, the foundation is wealthy. Why should I bother?" The pressure of that fat treasury would surely tempt the board to invent all kinds of schemes to do good with such funds, and so divert AA from its primary purpose. The moment that happened, our fellowship confidence would be shaken. The board would be isolated and would fall under heavy attack of criticism from both AA and the public. These were the possibilities, pro and con. Then our trustees wrote a bright page of AA history. They declared for the principle that AA must always stay poor, bear running expenses plus a prudent reserve would henceforth be the foundation's financial policy. Difficult as it was, they officially declined the $10,000 and adopted a formal airtight resolution that all such future gifts would be similarly declined. At the moment, we believe the principle of corporate property was primarily and finally embedded in AA tradition. When these facts were printed, there was a profound reaction. To people similar with endless drives for charitable funds, AA presented a strange and refreshing spectacle, approving editorials here and abroad generated a wave of confidence in the integrity of Alcoholics Anonymous. They pointed out that the irresponsible had become responsible, and that by making financial independence part of its tradition, Alcoholics Anonymous had revived an ideal that its era had almost forgotten. Now, I have given not a large donation to my home group, but I did give them money. But that's my group, and that's for rent, coffee, literature. It pays for everything. The rent for the hall that we do our meetings in. Um, I don't know what it is nowadays, how much they pay for it right now, but I do remember when I was first working as a camp host, I was making okay money, not a lot, but um, I decided with one of my checks that I was going to give. I don't remember how much it was. I think it was like $80, maybe, to my group, and that's because we have to be self-supporting, which means we go off of our own contributions of what we donate out of our money. It may be $1, it might be 50 cents. We still donated in our own group conscience to help with financial responsibilities. And that's what tradition 7 is we have to remember that we came in to this group broke, and we have to stay broke. We can have money outside, but I don't have a lot of money. I'm not rich, for sure, not rich. But when I go to a meeting, I do donate $1 or whatever. But that is the way we are able to decline the outside contributions, because we need to always remember what our purpose is, and money is not a purpose for any alcoholic. Money is when we first come from, when we first get sober and all of that, we are still in that. I have $1, I have $1.50. All I need is this much to get a beer. I remember those days. I really do remember those days. And I have money. I don't have a lot of money, but I have money and it stays in my pocket for longer, because I'm no longer saying I gotta go buy that beer at 7 o'clock in the morning. I don't have to uh, worry about where I'm going to get my next drink, how I'm going to pay for it, because I've learned that my money needs to go for more important things and not the drink. So when I first got sober, it was not easy at all to go to the grocery store or go to a tackle store or anywhere that they sold alcohol, because the pink cloud, it is real. And that's what I was in. And I'd have money in my pocket and I'd be walking through those aisles and I'd be going, please do not let me go over there and buy that alcohol. I don't need it. I don't want it. And I got to get out of here. And now it doesn't bother me. But at that time, I was like, I think 2 years after I got sober, I finally was able to listen to music with the words of the names of alcohol in them. And uh, my drink of choice was Jack Daniels and Coke. And I could drink that to no end. But I don't have money for that. I have more important things to put my money on. And, it's great to be able to be a better person, know what you need to do. Even it's self-explanatory. Every AA group ought to be fully self-supporting, declining those outside contributions. We also don't want to have people talking about us like we're spending and taking money from other people who aren't part of the group or who don't have that alcoholic tendency like we do. Thank you, Steve. That means a lot. That really means a lot. But um, now I'm gonna cry. Stuff like that makes me cry because that's why I do this. It's to inspire other people to find their sobriety, to find their passion, their thing that they want to do in their life. And since I have been sober, I've been able to have a job. I've been able to change my whole lifestyle. I I started walking uh, right after I got sober. I started walking because I could actually walk somewhere. Um, and I wasn't walking to find the alcohol. And so I got to where I was walking about 4 miles a day in the heat in the desert area of Oregon. And I was able to be sober when I came back to my home area. I hadn't started my meetings yet, but I'm thankful for that friend that said, meet me at the AA meeting. And I accepted that. I didn't know what all of it meant at the time. I didn't really pay much attention to it. But one of the first things I did was I got a sponsor. And she's been my sponsor ever since. And if I have a problem, I can call her, I can text her, I can go to her house, and I can talk to her about it. That's when I have things that I'm not sure about, you know, sharing. Um, Most of it is um, trauma from being a kid. And why I always said I would never be that alcoholic that I became. So just know that there's help out there, and all you have to do is pick up your phone, look it up, um, make that call. If somebody you know is lost in that alcoholic part of their life, tell them about AA. Tell them that there's a group that will help you, and you don't have to do anything other than show up. And that's what I did. That's where I found going to these meetings helps. And working my steps every single day, it works. Without my group and all the help that I've gotten along the way in my sobriety, I would not be sitting here. I can guarantee you I would not be sitting here talking to all of you on the internet, telling you that there's help out there for everybody. And alcohol is just as bad as the other. And there's hope for that too. So, thank you, Steve. He said that you are an inspiration, Sandra. You fixed yourself and now are helping others by sharing your experience. And I'm so proud of you for getting healthy and exercising as well. Your complexion looks great. Thank you. Um, Before I would never take a compliment. I'd be like, whatever. But Yeah, I have in the past 6 months, I want to say. I started walking. I started changing my whole daily routine, except for when it's 100 degrees outside, 96 degrees outside. 92, I still go out and walk. I get dirty looks for it, but I still do it. So I have um, set goals that I was going to walk this hill over here. I attempted it once. I didn't make it all the way to the top. Tried it again. Didn't tell anybody I was doing it. I made it to the top and back. And next, I'm going to do Multnomah Falls sometime maybe in October when it slows down and there's not so many people. And then next year, I think I'm going to do a 5K. I got to find it though. Then I got to get there. In other good news, I'm not diabetic anymore. Doing good. Doing good. Oh, and I use AA to quit smoking too. It's been a year and 5 months since I smoked a cigarette. Yep. Well, I'm up to walking 4 miles now, but I have to put it all together. So I break it up. I walk in the morning, I walk in the afternoon, and I walk at night. I just got to get it to where I'm doing it all at the same time. That is the hard part. If I can go to a park or something, I can do that easily. But my neighborhood is not the best, so I carry mace. But anyways, I'm gonna read the daily reflection and then let you guys go do your day. And I'm glad you guys are all right, Steve. That's scary. I saw that video. I was like, holy moly, that is some scary stuff. It is a major accomplishment. My sister made it to 2 years and then went back to smoking, but she's been working on it again. So, August 26th, giving it away. Though they knew they must help other alcoholics if they would remain sober, that motive became secondary. It was transcended by the happiness they found in giving themselves for others. Alcoholics Anonymous, page 159. Those words for me refer to a transference of power through which God, as I understood him, enters my life. Through prayer and meditation, I open channels, then I establish and improve my conscious contact with God. Through actions, I then receive the power I need to maintain my sobriety each day. By maintaining my spiritual condition, by giving away what has been so freely given to me, I am grateful, a daily reprieve. And that's going to be the meeting today. Um, I'm going fishing again. I can't wait to get my pole back out. Hot water. Anyway, I love you guys and thank you for being here and sharing this day with me for an hour. Um, Having you guys here is great support to me and lets me know that I am helping other people by doing these meetings because that is the one thing that I wanted this to do. And I'm thankful for all of you guys for being here. I love you all. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Keep coming back. It works if you work it. And you're welcome, Steve.